Hey guys, real quick, I want to show you how I recently used some lumber from a big box store like 1x6s and 1x8s, all white pine, and I used some tools from my shop to make some faux hand-hewn beams for our home. Check it out. So the first step in the process of me trying to make this look like a hand-hewn beam is using my 18-volt cordless Ryobi planer. Now this planer works really good. As you can see here, it's working as it should, but it's not leaving really deep marks. And later on in the process, I determined this may not be a necessary step due to all of the other damage that I'm going to do to this beam. The next step is to use a hatchet, or in this case, an old drywall hammer. This thing's really light and easy to use. It has a sharp edge on it, and here I'm just trying to replicate the old axe marks and old chop marks that you would see in hand-hewn wood. So I brought these chunks of wood up with the drywall hammer, and now I'm using an actual axe. This is a Fisker's axe. It's a pretty heavy axe, and I'm just using it to slide along in the same direction as I chop the wood, and this is going to just yank this wood, these chunks, right off the board. Some of them are just small chunks that just break right off. Some of them are pretty good size, like right here. That one right there, it just took a lot of grain with it. It's a good texture that it leaves behind and a necessary step in the process. The next step in the process is to make some cracks or checks. Real weathered wood and hand-hewn logs will most definitely have cracks or checks along the way. I wanted to use my most portable rotary tool, and that's the Ryobi 18-volt rotary tool. This thing works really good. As you can see, I'm just randomly going along and making some marks. So the next step in the process is to weather this wood. This wire brush pulls those soft, light color grains out from in between the harder grains and makes this thing look weathered. This wire brush is a 4-inch wire brush I picked up at Harbor Freight, and I'm just using my drill and just went to town and started working. It is a little time consuming, but you can see it's starting to do the job and make it look weathered. So before I go any further, you can see here I have some checks and cracks, some weathered looking wood. You'll see some holes. I forgot to record, but I did hit this thing with some nails and screws to make it look like there were some wormholes. And yes, it's starting to come together, looking a little weathered. I'll add some stain here shortly and you'll see the difference. After using the wire wheel, you're left with a really rough surface. I used the Restore drum tool, which has a synthetic brush inside. The synthetic wire wheel will smooth out the surface, will round the corners and the edges, and leave you with a much smoother surface. The final step before staining is sanding. I use my Ryobi 18-volt orbital sander with 220 grit sandpaper. This smooths it out just a little more for that final finish. We tried several different stain colors, but we settled on the Golden Oak Minwax. This seemed to look more natural, yet be more of a weathered look than any of the other stains we tried. Once the stain is dried, I will apply the Helmsman Spar Urethane Semi-Gloss. After wiping the stain off, I use the air hose to push the stain out of the cracks and crevices. Then I can wipe that down again and help it dry a little quicker. Plus, it allows the cracks and crevices not to dry too dark. Okay, here are the posts and beams that I have completed thus far. An old barn door I just recently made. This is weathered wood without the hand-hewn marks. And that post also has a couple receptacles in it. All right, guys, that's it. I hope you liked the video. I hope it provided useful information for maybe a future project for you. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. And by all means, have a great day.